Rabies is one of the oldest and most terrifying diseases humans have ever encountered, a sickness so brutal that ancient civilizations believed it was caused by demons, a disease so feared that even today, with all our modern medicine, almost nobody survives once symptoms begin, a disease that turns the human brain into a battlefield where fear, rage, confusion, and uncontrollable spasms overwhelm the mind until the victim can no longer swallow, breathe, or even control their own body. And the most horrifying part is that rabies is a nearly 100% fatality rate, which makes it one of the deadliest infections ever known, an ancient curse that has stalked humanity and animals for more than 4,000 years, leaving behind stories of madness, desperation, and heroic attempts to stop the unstoppable. My name is His Tori, and today we are diving into the terrifying history of rabies, the incurable ancient disease that shaped medicine, legends, and fear across countless civilizations. Buckle up, because this journey gets dark, strange, and unbelievably real. Rabies is so old that the earliest written records describing it appear in Mesopotamia, where ancient laws stated that if a dog showed signs of madness and bit someone, the owner was held responsible for whatever happened afterward, which shows just how familiar people already were with this mysterious and deadly disease. The Babylonians, Sumerians, and Egyptians all described rabid animals as creatures possessed by evil spirits, and their writings reveal a deep understanding of the disease's terrifying pattern, especially the fact that once symptoms began, death was certain. They didn't know about viruses, but they knew that the bite of a sick dog could turn a healthy person into a shaking, hallucinating, terrified version of themselves before death inevitably followed. This early recognition shaped how ancient societies viewed dogs: fear, contagion, and spiritual punishment. The Greeks and Romans studied rabies more scientifically, and writers like Aristotle described dogs becoming insane, foaming at the mouth, and infecting anything they bit. The Roman writer Celsus wrote one of the earliest and eerily accurate descriptions of hydrophobia. He noted that victims became terrified of water, unable to swallow or breathe without spasms, yet still thirsty and desperate, which created a cruel paradox that haunted ancient physicians for centuries. To the Greeks, rabies was a puzzle of the gods. To the Romans, it was a punishment and a medical mystery. They tried treatments such as cauterizing the wound with hot metal, applying herbs, or reciting rituals. But none of these methods could stop what we now know is a virus that travels through nerves directly to the brain. Throughout history, rabies inspired legends of werewolves, demons, and cursed animals because the symptoms were so dramatic that people believed victims were transforming into something monstrous. A person with rabies might growl, bite, hallucinate, fear water, or lash out uncontrollably, and in pre-scientific societies these behaviors looked supernatural. Many cultures believed rabies was sent by angry gods or witches, and some communities even performed exorcisms on victims, thinking that the disease was a spiritual invasion rather than a biological infection. These myths reinforced fear and misunderstanding, making rabies not just a medical threat, but a psychological one that shaped folklore across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Hydrophobia, meaning fear of water, is one of rabies' most chilling symptoms, and ancient doctors documented it long before they understood why it happened. Victims desperately wanted water, but experienced throat spasms, choking, and panic at the sight or sound of liquid, which caused absolute dread. This symptom alone created the disease's terrifying reputation because it turned something essential to life into a source of fear and agony. It is believed that ancient people associated this with spiritual punishment or possession, because nothing about it made sense without knowledge of viruses or neurology. During the Middle Ages, rabies remained a mystery, and European doctors often combined medical treatments with religious rituals. People believed the disease could be prevented by touching relics, praying to specific saints, or performing symbolic gestures. Some healers claimed that the bite should be covered in herbs blessed by monks, while others recommended bizarre cures that did absolutely nothing to stop the virus. Rabies outbreaks were often associated with demonic animals or evil omens, and communities sometimes destroyed entire populations of dogs in desperation. This era shows how fear can blend medicine, superstition, and religion into a single response when unknown threats strike societies without scientific explanations. By the Enlightenment era, scientists began studying rabies more seriously, conducting experiments that attempted to understand how the disease spread from animals to humans. They noticed that the incubation period could last weeks or months, which made the disease even more frightening because victims often seemed healthy long after being bitten. When symptoms finally appeared, it was far too late. This period marked the shift from superstition to scientific investigation, even though researchers still lack the tools to identify viruses or understand the nervous system in detail. Early attempts at prevention included wound cleaning and attempts to remove contaminated tissue, but rabies remained almost universally fatal. In the late 1800s, Louis Pasteur changed everything when he developed the first effective rabies vaccine. His work came after years of studying how infectious diseases spread, and he theorized that weakened forms of viruses could train the body to defend itself. In 1885, he famously saved a young boy who had been bitten by a rabid dog, and this moment became one of the greatest milestones in the history of medicine. Pasteur's treatment was not a cure, but a prevention method, meaning it had to be given before symptoms appeared. He had transformed rabies from an automatic death sentence into a disease humans could finally fight. This victory marked the beginning of modern virology and showed that science could defeat ancient killers. Today, rabies still exists globally, especially in regions where vaccination programs for dogs are limited. And although most developed countries have reduced human rabies cases dramatically, millions of people are still exposed to potentially infected animals every year. The terrifying truth is that once clinical symptoms appear, the disease remains almost universally fatal despite medical advances. Modern medicine focuses on post-exposure treatment, early vaccination, and widespread animal vaccination campaigns, which have saved countless lives. However, the psychological terror surrounding rabies remains strong because it represents one of the few infections that science still cannot cure once it has reached the brain. Rabies is so deadly because the virus travels slowly but relentlessly through the nervous system, avoiding the bloodstream where the immune system could detect it. Once it reaches the brain, it causes severe inflammation, neurological damage, hallucinations, aggression, paralysis, and eventually respiratory failure. Its stealthy path makes early detection difficult, and once symptoms appear, the virus has already taken control of essential brain functions. This biological behavior makes rabies one of the most unique and terrifying pathogens ever discovered. Rabies represents the perfect intersection of ancient fear and modern science. It is a disease that behaves almost like a horror movie creature, hiding inside nerves, emerging with nightmarish symptoms, and leaving no survivors once it reaches the brain. Even with modern medicine, rabies commands respect because it reminds us that nature still holds dangers we cannot fully defeat. The history of rabies is not just a medical story, but a human story, a journey of fear, misunderstanding, scientific triumph, and ongoing vigilance. And as long as animals and humans continue to live side by side, the legacy of rabies will never fully disappear. Thanks for watching this deep dive into one of the most terrifying diseases in human history. If you enjoyed this journey and want more strange, shocking, and unbelievable stories from the past, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and share it with someone who loves history as much as you do. I'm Histori, and more incredible stories are coming soon. So stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.